Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for coming in. I'm here today to provide you an update in relation to the ongoing missing person investigation relating to Gus Lamont. The search for 4-year-old Gus, who disappeared from Oak Park Station on the 27th of September last year, has been the largest and most intensive missing person search ever undertaken by SAPOL. Every police officer and civilian involved in the search for Gus has had the sole focus of locating Gus and returning him to his parents. Sadly, to date, our efforts to locate Gus have not been successful. On the 14th of October last year, the Commissioner approved the establishment of Task Force Horizon to continue the investigation in relation to locating Gus. Since Gus's disappearance, there's been a groundswell of support from a range of government agencies, private companies and community groups, all with the same focus as us, and that is to locate Gus. The scale of the air and ground search as part of this investigation is unprecedented, and today I'm going to provide you much more detail around what we have done in relation to that as part of the Task Force Horizon investigation. The search for Gus was based on him walking off from Oak Park Station and becoming lost. This is one of 3 investigation options that have been explored by the members attached to Task Force Horizon. The other 2 investigation options are focused on Gus being abducted from Oak Park Station, or whether someone known to him was involved in his disappearance and suspected death. I'll provide you further details on all of those concurrent investigations this afternoon. As well as that, today I'm also declaring the disappearance of Gus Lamont to be a major crime. So I'll start with the foot search. As I've indicated, the foot search has been unprecedented and the resources that have been used have been significant. And just to give you a snapshot of what that is, 163 SAPOL members, including recruits, have been used in the search operation. 230 non-SAPOL resources have been used. That includes the SES, the Australian Defence Force, the Army, who deployed twice in and around the Oak Park Station area. Indigenous trackers and community groups have all been involved. We've had deployments to Oak Park Station for over 20 days as part of that search operation, and there's been 8 separate searches, at least 8 separate searches conducted at Oak Park Station. Due to the remoteness of Oak Park Station and the challenges that that environment provides, the searching would not have been possible without the assistance of these resources. And I'd just like to very quickly thank the Australian Defence Force and particularly the Army and the State Emergency Service for their participation in those searches. Detailed ground search to a radius of 5.47 kilometres out from Oak Park Station was conducted over several days. So I'd just like to show you what that is. So you'll see on the slide here Oak Park Station in the middle, and the blue line that goes around that is the distance of 5.47 kilometres. That equates to about 94 square kilometres. To give you some context, this is what it looks like if you overlaid that into the CBD. You can see that 5 square kilometres takes up the majority of the inner suburban metropolitan area of Adelaide. It's a significant distance. That has all been searched on foot, as I've said. So you'll see in the shaded area is Oak Park Station itself. That is the boundary of the station. The 5.47 kilometres takes in significant portion of the station, but you'll also see that it also just cuts out of the station into some of the neighbouring properties. Again, all of that area there, 95 or 94 square kilometres, has all been searched on foot. That search has been overseen by police forward commanders, experienced police forward commanders and very experienced field search controllers. We have a large degree of confidence that that area has been searched thoroughly. You might ask why 5.47 kilometres? The National Search and Rescue Manual indicates to us scientifically, soundly based statistical data that children aged 4 to 6 years of age are located 95% of the time within 5.47 kilometres of their last known place they were seen. So it's not guesswork, it's based on scientific, factual, reliable statistical data is why we put the foot search into that area and why we invested so much time and effort into that area in the early part of this investigation. As you'd appreciate, and you already know, this area contained 3 dams. Those dams have been searched twice. On one of those occasions, we actually drained the dams so that the police divers could satisfy themselves as close to 100% as they could that Gus is not in any of those dams, and we are confident that he's not. While I don't have a picture of it, there is a watercourse that also runs through Oak Park Station, and that has also been thoroughly searched. In total, as I said, 8 searches have been conducted at Oak Park Station around the homestead and outbuildings, interior and exterior of all of those buildings. You'll see in the top right is an overhead picture of Oak Park Station homestead and some of those outbuildings. The larger picture is a picture of the shearing shed, and then the bottom right are some other outbuildings attached to Oak Park Station, not necessarily nearby to the homestead. Some of them are a few kilometres away, but all of those outbuildings have been searched multiple times, and some of those outbuildings have also been subjected to forensic testing. No stone has been left unturned in terms of searching those outbuildings and the homestead. Coupled with that, the owners of Oak Park Station and the neighbouring properties have also been conducting their own searching. We know that their properties have been mustered with the stock that's on those properties at least once since the 27th of September, which effectively means they've covered a significant amount of ground in Oak Park Station mustering stock during that time. We've got no information that would suggest that Gus has been located during those searches either. You'll also know that we've searched some mine shafts that are located within 10 kilometres of Oak Park Station. Those 2 photographs there are indicative of what those mine shafts look like. They were taken by Task Force Horizon members who were on the ground the day that those mine shafts were searched. We are confident, very confident, that Gus is not in these mine shafts. 6 of them were done, and gives you an indication of what they look like. That's ground searching, significant. I'll just go to aerial searching now. So we've conducted aerial searching of vast areas surrounding Oak Park Station. Initially, Polair attended and searched from Oak Park Station out to a distance of around about 12 kilometres on the night that Gus disappeared, using their forward-looking infrared technology attached to the helicopter, but there was no sign of Gus using that capability. We then employed the services of a specialised drone company who did some specific searching out to 2.5 kilometres from the homestead, 2 kilometres around the dams that I spoke about, and also down some roadways leading in and out of Oak Park Station, about 8 kilometres down one roadway and 6 kilometres down another. The imagery, and I'll speak about the imagery shortly. We also engaged the services of an aircraft that had highly specialised camera equipment in the aircraft. That aircraft flew on 2 occasions for us. Firstly, out to a distance of 10 kilometres, which included the 5. So you'll see the red line gets out to 10. And also it flew out to 15 kilometres. And that's the green line. Again, I'll give you an indication of what that might look like in terms of area as you overlay it onto the metropolitan area of Adelaide. That's the area that has been searched by a highly specialised aircraft. It's not an insignificant area. In fact, out to the green line is 706 square kilometres has been searched. Just go back to the Oak Park Station there. You'll see 94 square kilometres was the initial search, out to 10. We then went out to 15. As I've said earlier, 95% of 4 to 6 year olds statistically are located within that blue circle. We are reducing that percentage even further by going out significantly further than the 5 kilometres, such as the effort that we've made to locate Gus. What we did with the imagery that was captured by the aircraft and the drone, we gave to an external AI company who was able to provide us really high definition pictures and footage, and all of this imagery has been reviewed by members who are attached to Task Force Horizon. So I'd just like to give you just a bit of an indication of what that looks like. So when we get our report back from the company, you'll see on the right is essentially a circle. That is the circle out to 15 kilometres, and you'll see different colours within that, and what those colours are relates to what's on the left of the screen in terms of livestock and animals. So from the AI, we know that at that particular time, Oak Park Station had almost 10,000 sheep, which are blue, on their station, 6,300 plus goats, kangaroos. It even distinguishes between red and grey ones, such is the ability of the AI, and so it goes on. So all of those animals are depicted there within that circle. You'll see down the bottom that it's detected 1 human, and I'll show you what that is in a minute. But what it also does is it identifies to us areas of interest that should be searched that is not obvious to the AI, where they can't distinguish whether it's an animal or they can tell us what it is. So we have attended Oak Park Station on a number of occasions checking out those individual sites. So here's a slide that shows you what that imagery looks like. Really high quality. The human is on the right there that's riding the motorbike. Clearly that's not Gus, but that will show you that the AI will pick up what a human is compared to a sheep or a goat or a kangaroo. So we'll just go to the next slide. And that's how we can zoom in on the imagery and how clear that is and what we can actually see on the ground, particularly out past that 10 and 15 kilometre mark. There's a couple of sheep there. So this is a capability that hasn't previously been used by SAPOL, and really getting this imagery captured and analysed for us would not have been possible without the assistance of some of these companies. And I just want to take a very short moment to thank them, and they are Near Maps Proprietary Limited, Working Drones Australia, Fujitsu, SciI Proprietary Limited, and the Australian Federal Police also assisted. And I want to thank them for the support that they've given to Task Force Horizon and the support that they continue to give. It is much appreciated. So what's the result of all of this? The ground searches and the aerial searches, with the images that you've seen, have failed to locate Gus or any items belonging to Gus. At this time, despite all of the combined search efforts, we have found no evidence, physical or otherwise, to suggest that Gus has merely wandered off from the Oak Park homestead. However, if we do get new information that does come to hand, I'm not going to discount that further searching will be done, but you can see from the level of searching that has been undertaken, we have a high level of confidence that he hasn't wandered off. As I said earlier, the investigation has also focused on whether Gus was abducted from the property, and that has been a significant part of the Task Force Horizon members' day-to-day work in terms of establishing whether that has or has not happened. What we've done in relation to abduction, we have spoken to all people in the broader area around the mid-north and out even further who presents a risk profile associated with abduction or child offending. Those people have been discounted. We've identified and spoken to neighbours and people who were or had been working on Oak Park Station or neighbouring properties at around the time of Gus's disappearance. We've identified people and vehicles in the vicinity of or travelling around the area of Oak Park Station at the time of Gus's disappearance. All of those people have been contacted and have been discounted. In addition to that, we've assessed, reviewed and investigated 380 Crime Stopper actions, 38 emails directly received from members of the public, 2 letters that we've received with information from members of the public, and a large number of internal South Australia Police intelligence documents. Through all of this effort, we have found no evidence to suggest that Gus was abducted from the property. So on that, I just want to quickly go through to firm that up for you, what opportunity for abduction might look like. Oak Park Station is remote. It is 45 kilometres inland from the nearest main roadway, which is the Barrier Highway. Oak Park Station doesn't have a signpost or anything like that off a road that points you to Oak Park Station. There's nothing obvious that would lead you to Oak Park Station unless you know where you're going and the way there. It can only be accessed by one of 2 45-kilometre dirt roads that come in from different directions. The red line on the bottom right there will show you, it looks like one road, but it's actually 2. You'll see Oak Park Station kind of in the middle there. The one line that comes in from the left of that picture and the other from the top right are the 2 roads that come into Oak Park Station. They can only be accessed by four-wheel drive. If you're driving on those roads, you're going to one of the stations or you're lost. It's not a place that you just go to. There are several gates on each of the driveways which impede access to Oak Park Station, and a number of these gates are regularly locked and secured by the station owners and the property owners in the area. Both the driveways bypass other neighbouring properties. You have to drive past other stations to get to Oak Park. The roads are not a thoroughfare. And as I've said, if you're driving on those roads, you're there for a reason. There were no vehicles foreign to the area at Oak Park Station that have been identified by either the property owners themselves or the neighbouring properties at the time that Gus went missing. We know that if there is a vehicle that is sighted anywhere in the vicinity of Oak Park Station, I'm saying anywhere kilometres away from Oak Park Station, there is normally dust in the air that will tell you that a vehicle is either arriving or leaving that area. No dust. no sighting of any vehicles at the time that Gus went missing. There's been no foreign tracks located arriving or leaving the property. The timing of being in the area when Gus was playing outside would need to be impeccable. If Gus has been abducted, it is absolutely fortuitous. There is no pattern of Gus playing outside at Oak Park Station. So for someone to start to get a dossier together on movements and time of the day, etc., we are very confident is very, very unlikely. So the opportunity for anybody to abduct Gus is extremely low, with what I've just explained about the remoteness of the property and with the work that Task Force Horizon investigators have done around people in the area at the time. So it leaves us with the other part of the investigation, and that is investigating whether people known to Gus were involved in his disappearance. So from the time that Gus went missing, the family members have been cooperating with police and providing information that has assisted with establishing the movements of Gus around the time that he went missing. A detailed review of all of that information has been conducted by Task Force Horizon members. As a result of that, we've identified a number of inconsistencies and discrepancies with that information as it relates to timelines and the versions of events provided to us by the family members. As a result of these inconsistencies and investigations into them, a person who resides at Oak Park Station has withdrawn their support for the police and is no longer cooperating with us. On the 14th and 15th of January this year, Task Force Horizon investigators attended at Oak Park Station and executed a search warrant. A further comprehensive forensic search was conducted of the Oak Park Station homestead, and a number of items were seized, including a vehicle, a motorcycle and some electronic devices. All of these items are now subject to forensic testing. The person who has withdrawn their cooperation is now considered a suspect in the disappearance of Gus. I do want to stress, however, that Gus's parents are not suspects in his disappearance. You'd appreciate at this time I cannot make any further comment about the suspect, given that this is now a criminal investigation and a declared major crime. What I can say, however, is that we'll continue to thoroughly and meticulously investigate the disappearance of Gus until we get an outcome. We are all focused and determined to locate Gus and return him to his parents. Nothing is off the table as we work towards that outcome. Just want to take just a short opportunity to thank some people so far. As I've said, it's a 4-month investigation that is ongoing. I do want to thank the members of the public who have provided information to police. The information has been overwhelming at times, but it has been valuable, and all of that information has been investigated. On that, I again encourage anyone who has any information that might assist the investigation, and particularly to assist us locate Gus, to contact police or to call Crime Stoppers on 1800 333 000. I want to acknowledge the assistance that has been provided to Task Force Horizon by the local police attached to the York Mid-North region and the other specialist areas, including those sections within Star Group. Their support has been a very, very important part of progressing this investigation. Finally, I'd like to sincerely thank the detectives, intelligence and uniformed members who are attached to Task Force Horizon. These members have worked tirelessly and displayed unwavering commitment, dedication and resilience during what has been a very complex and challenging investigation. All of these officers at times have made personal sacrifices, but they remain as committed today to this investigation as what they were at the start. We are all working towards locating Gus and returning him to his parents. I'm proud of the work that Task Force Horizon have done and continue to do, and the community should take comfort that no stone is being left unturned in this investigation. Just some advice for you as the media. I want to take the opportunity to remind you that on the instructions of the family, you don't have permission to enter Oak Park Station. If you don't heed those instructions, there is a very good chance that you'll face trespassing charges. That's on the instructions of the family. On the same note, the family members have requested privacy in relation to this as they continue to work through the grief of losing 4-year-old Gus. I would appreciate if you would respect their privacy. It would help them a lot as they work through this. So I'm happy to take any questions that you have. You would appreciate that there are some operational and investigational matters that I can't make comment on or expand on at this time.